As an uri of Ngāpuhi, what do you want Ngāpuhi to look like in 5 years' time?
For myself, what I would really love Ngāpuhi to look like is mana motu hake inside homes. Tō tātou reo rangatira spoken inside homes, and just to see a lot of our mama and our papa and like more participation from them in regards to the oranga of our tautamiriki. Those are some of the things that I'd love to see in the next 5 years for Ngāpuhi.
Tēnā koe te whananga. Tohine?
I'm really excited to be here today, and I'm really glad that we've had this opportunity as Ngāpuhi to come to te Mahure Marae. As we all know, Ngāpuhi represent the highest demographic of iwi in the whole of Aotearoa, and a large proportion of Ngāpuhi live outside of the iwi boundaries in Tāmaki. You know, over 60%, I think I heard 70% today live here in Tāmaki, and it's hard being a Ngāpuhi who lives in Tāmaki, away from our iwi boundaries, away from our maunga, away from our awa. And even just talking about it now, you know, it kind of chokes me up about the life that we've had to live as, I suppose, Ngāpuhi. And, you know, I say disconnected because that's where my heart leads me to say disconnected. And so today is a great day for us, for the runanga to be here. We do call for the runanga to have a presence in Tāmaki. We have called it before. I have raised this issue about 7 years ago. I come to an AGM in Te Mahure and I asked, what are we doing for Ngāpuhi who live in Auckland? And the person who got up and spoke, I won't say his name, but he said, we can't work here in Tāmaki because we're outside of our iwi boundaries and we encroach on other iwi. So the response to me was one of iwi politics, and I don't think iwi politics has a place to play in Ngāpuhi identity, who we are as Ngāpuhi. I'm proud to be Ngāpuhi, and so many of us are very proud to be Ngāpuhi, but we need places and spaces for us to feel, because we are not mana whenua, you know, here. And I know there are kōrero about Ngāpuhi mai te rerengawaewae ki Tāmaki, you know, but those are all myths until they become authenticated, until Ngāpuhi come and put their stamp and say, this is where our boundaries are. And even if we look today at the map, where the map for Ngāpuhi and the takiwa, they're coloured in, but they're not even accurate, because we've got to go on what's being settled so far. And so Ngāpuhi don't sit anywhere. So we're Ngāpuhi, we live in Auckland, but we don't belong here. You know, we don't, this is our tūrangawaewae, but it's not. We're here, but we're not, you know, and so that's hard. And our whānau have had to turn to gangs. And, you know, I'm one of 11 siblings, and my parents were in gangs. And I'm very fortunate to have got out of that life, and I did. And I created an organisation called Māti Huruhuru, and I'm the founder and CEO of that organisation. We're based here in Tāmaki, and a large proportion of our whānau who come and access our services whakapapa to Ngāpuhi. And we tried to register them to the runanga recently, and the runanga are saying, what's their marae, what's their hapu? They're not counted as registrations because we don't know. How do we know? You know, and this is a really good opportunity for the runanga to come and to not just look at that registration as a transaction or a number or a statistic. Look at it as an opportunity to build those relationships with our people. Come, we're here, you know. So we run youth transitional housing. We also run work readiness programs, employment programs, suicide prevention programs, you know, COVID. we were all over it, and I reached out a few times to the takiwa. Can we have support? No. Why? Because there's no resources given to Tāmaki, and that's accurate. If we talk about quantum, how many Ngāpuhi are in the different takiwa, and if we split the resources evenly, then Tāmaki would get the majority of the resources because the majority of us are here, but it's not split like that. It's all split evenly. So we fight over $7,000 a year, and that's not enough. So the future for Ngāpuhi, for me, looks like a presence from Runanga. It looks like having a marae here. Tima Hurehura is a good start, but this is not where majority of our people are. We're in South Auckland. A marae in South Auckland would be really good. A hub, somewhere to connect us into, to keep us updated about events. Things that are happening, somewhere where we can have waiata wānanga. At the tangi for Kingi Tūheitia, that was a really good opportunity for us as Ngāpuhi to stand as one and all know the same waiata, all know the same actions, the versions of the haka. We had 3 different versions of Te Ara Ngāpuhi happening because we all know different iterations of their haka. So there's this kotahitanga, this oneness that we need to get back to, and I think that's where I see the Runanga playing a role in that. Ngāpuhi iwi services, they talk about 800 whānau being Ngāpuhi. The majority of those numbers live here. They live here. We're here, so there needs to be more presence and resources put into Auckland.
Tēnā koe te tuahine.
Kia ora.
Miharo rawa.
Kia ora. Ki te no ngā kōrero Mahera, ko pau te kaha o ngā kōrero moku nei, kia koe e te kaihana e Sophie, mōhio pū ana tāua tahi i tipu aki roto o Ngāpuhi, ngā tōpito katoa, nā reira, te anga whakamua mō ngā tau e rima ke te heke mai. Kia tino ukaipai tātou ki ro o Ngāpuhi, kia hāpai ngā whānau noho taha nei ki iwi ke, kia rongo, kia ako, kia maimahara ki tō tātanei ake mita o te reo te kāinga o Ngāpuhi, kia kaua tēnā e ngaro nā roto i ngā kāinga, ngā marae, ngā hapu, ngā kura, kia kotahi ai te mita, kia kotahi ai te akonga, o ngā tūmomo āpotanga o Ngāpuhi nui tōne i roto e tō tātanei ao Māori. Nā reira, ko tēnā tōku nei kitenga o ngā hiahia me ki, kia tino ako ai tātou katoa te mita o Ngāpuhi, i roto i ngā kāinga, ngā kura, hākua noho ana ki roto o Ngāpuhi, o ki wāhi ke, ki iwi ke, me kahai te ngā runanga, te runanga nui, ki te toha i ngā rauemi no hoki ngā pūtea, kia tātou e noho taha nei ki waho o Ngāpuhi, kia hāpai nā te mea i ki aia Mahera, ko ia te tumu whakarai o mā te huruhuru, he kaupapa hāpai rangatahi, nāna nei i ki e tika ana whitu te kau, pai hineti o ngā taita miriki ki roto i ngā kaupapa, rapu kāinga, rapu mahi, rapu mātauranga, no Ngāpuhi, te nuinga, kua ngaro hia o rātou nei, nekehanga o te me ki ngā kawenga o koe o koroma, ngā tikanga, ngā mātauranga Māori, o rātou nei pepeha, o rātou nei whakapapa, kua ngaro, engari e noho ana ki Tāmaki, nā ka uruatu ki mā te huruhuru me te whakaaro, hāpai tātou, kia hia o tātou nei iwi, nā ko tātou nei mahi, ki te whakatō tēnā o ngā kākano, kia whai ai rātou, ko wai rātou, no hea rātou, no Ngāpuhi rātou. Engari, kare tātou, te pūtea kare tātou ngā rauemi mai i Ngāpuhi, ki te hāpai tēnā kaupapa.
Just to add on to what Reretai said, yeah, the reo, the Ngāpuhi reo, and it is growing up in Tāmaki and having to go to schools here, we never heard the mita of our reo. We never heard that. We were conformed to receiving education just based on mana whenua, which thanks to them that we did get some type of reo, but we don't know about Ngāpuhi, Pūrākau, Hitori, we don't, inside of schools. And so things like rangatahi, right? In our organisation, Mātu Huruhuru, we've made a conscious effort to bring back the mita o Ngāpuhi. So we use Tai Tamariki, and it's something that actually has spread throughout contracts and within the government and in Tāmaki, because we're making those intentional efforts to bring those kupu back. So education is a place where we've really lost, because we're in Tāmaki.
E hara tēnei hoki te takataki ngā iwi noho ana o Tāmaki. Engari mo tātou me whai ukaipo kikorei hoki. Mohi ana hau, ina hihea koe ki te uru atu ki tō iwi hoki ki te kāinga. Engari etahi wā hoki ki te kāinga, kare ngā mahi ki kona, kare ngā raumahi, kare te whakapapa mō etahi, nā reira, ina e te paki hei roto o Ngāpuhi, engari noho ana ki I noho au, ki te whanganui a tāra, ki Tāmaki nai nei, te puawaitanga o rātou nei ake iwi, o rātou ake nei tangata, nā reira mo tātou ki Tāmaki, kia kahai tātou, kia kahai te runanga ki te tino, hāpai, ngā whānau, tātai whakapapa, ngā whānau tātai whenua, ngā whānau tātai pepeha o Ngāpuhi, I roto o Tāmaki, kia kahai te runanga ki te hāpai, ki te whaiwā, ki te noho tahi, mihi ana ki te mahure marae hoki.
Kia ora. Connections, everything, eh? In all of the mahi we do. And I've noticed that everyone that's sat in this caravan actually so far, ngā mātau pono, everyone's values sit with our people. And sometimes when you see, and this is just my own whakaaro, but when you look into governance spaces, whether it be an iwi governance space or what have you, but I find that some people lose track of what it is or why they are put in that space. Our people, right, is always at the forefront of everything that you guys do, that we do, as individuals or in spaces or mahi that we do. The other part is looking at participation. And so if we think about that 5 year, what does Ngāpuhi look like for us? Whether it be that connection, whether it be teaching our own reo within this space of Tāmaki Makaurau. And I know I've seen wānanga happening, but I think more so initiated by the people who want it to happen within Tāmaki, right? So in saying that, how is it that you could possibly participate or, I guess, movers and shakers, right? I mean, come on. You've got your beautiful kaupapa that you've created from your upbringing that you've put in place for all of these tamariki. Look, I'm getting these tamariki mokopuna of not just Ngāpuhi, but those who need it. So how is it that we can participate and what that might look like for our iwi of Ngāpuhi?
This is just my own whakaaro, just due to not being entirely immersed inside these industries for 20 plus years like other people. I don't see myself as a master of the craft, but in relation to participation and things like that, my whakaaro on that is participation. Why it's so big to me is because it's easy to just to come over here, sit in front of you, and have the general kōrero with the mics off. But the true participation comes when the passion starts to come out, and then we start thinking about the tai tamariki, all the mita starting to go. And then the participation starts to become engaging. It starts to become something a little bit more inspirational. We start to get a couple of answers, and we start to get a few pārtai of our own. One of my main concerns going into any kind of kaupapa was not having a question. I was always told, ask one question at least. And because we have Mahera and Te Reretai sitting here in front of us, they are pure examples of people who beg the question, ui a te pātai, and the hua, the fruits and the benefits that come out of that, you might not see them all across Aotearoa, but in each individual tai tamariki that they deal with, they have, like you said, a value. They've developed a type of passion through participating in one of the kaupapa or doing te whare tapawhā for the 100th time, and wow, I learned something today, but all the other 99 times I didn't. So that's why for me participation is one of the key practices. We just happened to be standing outside when whā come up and said, hey, we have this kaupapa going on inside the caravan. And immediately Mahera and Te Reretai were eager to come in and be heard. And so for me, when it comes to things like participation, like, yeah, it's one thing to pull up and if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, they say. So participation is key to either getting your voice heard, to touching wood, getting your finger on the table, your foot in the door, and all of those kind of things. And I think that a lot of it comes from being whakamā. I don't want to do it. I'm not worthy. I've never spoken to Reo, so you'll never catch me on a marae speaking or doing a mihi or anything like that. But once you start getting your foot in the door, there's people like Mahera and Te Reretai, one step at a time, they'll start guiding you through that. Simple things like starting with the structure before you even say a mihi. The structure on how it's going to go, who you're going to mihi to first, what part of the realm you're going to close off. Those are a lot of the things that come just from simple things like participation. I know that there are a lot of Ngāpuhi here today that would not be able to stand and say, I've been to Pangaru. They would not be able to stand and say, I've been to Te Hapua or I've been to Te Aupōuri. But like you said, this is one way one way for us to cross those coasts. I might not step foot in that land, but I hungied somebody from there today. Why? Because we participated in this kaupapa.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koe.
I think a good place to start would be how the iwi can do a mapping of the organisations that currently exist in Tāmaki and where a percentage of those whānau whakapapa tū Ngāpuhi, and if we can see the lay of the land, who's where, who's doing what, who's in education, who's in health, who's in social services, who's in housing, and then we create opportunities for us to come, because it's in those whanaungatanga times that magic like this is going to happen. And I think the iwi have got some responsibility to creating those opportunities for us. We're doing them anyway, but without the iwi being over it, the data, which is very important, the research and the data is not going back to the iwi, and that's where it needs to sit. It needs to sit with the iwi so that when the iwi apply for funding or apply for growth or development opportunities, that they can say, our people in these areas have said this, 70% of them, so they've got the data to fall back on. Creating more opportunities like this for our whānau to come and be a part of it. All we have to do is turn up. All we have to do is know about it, get our whānau involved, put the message out, let's go, let's make it a whānau day, which is what we've done today. The runanga also need to be mindful, or the iwi need to be mindful, what other kaupapa are happening that are big in Tāmaki. Don't put them on the same dates because it conflicts our people. Then we're split. Then we can't be where we need to be. So they need to they've got an obligation to do some research. Make sure the AGMs are not put on days that there are other kaupapa involved. I think also the iwi can look at what does the relationship with kingitanga look like, because now more than ever, the kingitanga has just become relevant to Ngāpuhi and to Taitamariki, because we attended, we were there and we felt for the first time connected to the kingitanga. What does that mean for us? We need more conversations on that. How do we strengthen that relationship, and what will come of that relationship? Should we ask the question, how can the Queen help Ngāpuhi achieve mana motuhake, like what's written on all of the merchandise, mana motuhake? How do we get there? The kingitanga obviously are going to have a big role in that. Te tiriti o Waitangi is going to have a role in that. He whakaputanga is going to all have a role in that. So we need to be invited to these real cool, brain dumping sessions that you can hear from us. Yeah.
Ora. Mōku nei, i ngā tau ko pahure i tuwhirai etahi o ngā whānau Tasha, Mahera mā tēnā o ngā kaupapa o Ngāpuhi ki Tāmaki, ai roto e tēnā ahotanga, ka tuwhera mai ngā waiata wānanga, ngā whakapapa, ngā hītori, ngā pēpeha, ngā haka hoki, nā reira. Koina tētahi o aku nei titironga mō tātou kia tautoko ai a Ngāpuhi, kia haere tonu ina tūmomo wānanga, kia toha ngā rauemi pea o etahi pūtea hei hāpai ngā kaiwhakahaere. Nā te mea, pahuri atu i te tahi mano pea, ngā whānau e noho ana ki Tāmaki i uru atu ki ena o ngā wānanga, nā reira mōkenei kia kaha ai Ngāpuhi ki te mahi wānanga ki roto o Ngāpuhi, ki waho Ngāpuhi hoki, mei kore kia tino hāpai te mita o te reo, kia kotahi ai tātou o Ngāpuhi, ki ana mahere nei, ena o ngā haerenga ki te kingitanga, ngā tūmomo, huihuinga, ā-motu, kia tino rangatira ai tō tātou nei tū, kotahi o Ngāpuhi, kia mohi ai ngā waiata katoa, kia mohi ai ngā haka katoa, kia kore etahi mohi ana, tēnā, e toru e whā, e remanga ngā tūmomo waiata āringa me ki. Nā reira, koina ko tōku, kare he kupu tō atu i ngā mea i kōrero a Mahera me Monty me ki, engari kia kaha ai Ngāpuhi ki te tautoko. Ka hoki ngā mahara ki ana o ngā rā whakahirahira Ngāpuhi Fest, nā mōmō kaupapa, nui whakaharahara ina kaupapa, nā kare anō hau ko kite tētahi anō, pahure ngā tau ko hipa aue, te hia tātou, nā reira, tūwhera anō e nā kaupapa kia hoki ātirana ngā whānau i waho o Ngāpuhi, ki roto o Ngāpuhi hoki, kia tino kotahi ai, kia mana motu hake ai, kia wānanga ai, ngā whakapapa katoa.
Tēnā koutou, mihi ana kia koutou katoa. Tētahi atu pātai hei here I nei kōrero katoa. So Ngāpuhi Social Services wants Ngāpuhi mokopuna to be safe, secure, healthy and connected to their whakapapa. What important activities do you all think that Ngāpuhi Social Services should be doing or could be doing? Monty.
He pātai pai. Tēnā, okay, so, just my whakaaro. I think before I would ever start talking about all of the things that we should be doing, firstly, I just want to acknowledge what Ngāpuhi has started to do. All my life, I've heard all this kōrero of Ngāpuhi will never come together, too many chiefs and all of this sort of stuff. But you start looking around now, our chiefs are in the house, our people are in the house, they're here at Te Mahurehure Marae, up in Whangarei, they were there, up in Kaikoe, up in Ngāwha, they were there. Yeah, our people might be scattered and stuff like that, but what I want to first do is just acknowledge that we've started something, and I do believe that this can be put towards foundational mahi. Inside the marae, we heard them speaking about the next 50 years and stuff like that. The next 50 years honestly wouldn't even come close to happening if we didn't start congregating like this. And I think that kotahitanga is a good start. Just trying to share kōrero, share each other's ideas, and all of those kind of things. So where I'm really going at is like, I truly don't know. I truly don't know what the future holds and what things they should be doing. But what I can acknowledge is what we are doing today. And the things that we are doing today, in my own view, are beautiful. I never grew up in Te Ao Māori. And being here today, I've met a lot of people. I've reconnected whānau ties, built hononga, and just come across people from where I'm from. Never met them in my life. Those are the kind of things that I would never have gotten if I had stayed in my own backyard, stayed at home today and didn't participate in this kaupapa. So maybe more of these, because I do see these as being beneficial. we might not get all of our kōrero out. It might not be all out there on the table right now, but just like the team was talking about before, like, you know, the planting of seeds and nurturing those seeds. Where are those seeds going to be planted? Are they going to be planted in our mama and our papa or down into our kids' personal experience? I don't really see too many parents or the kids changing because the parent did. I see a lot of parents changing because the kid did though. And for me, I feel and I believe that a lot of seeds were planted today. And I think that in the future, it's how we're going to nurture those seeds so that they can blossom. So in regards to what should Ngāpuhi do in the future, I'm entirely not sure. But what I do want to acknowledge today is that we planted some seeds. And I've said this kōrero many times, but you know, tātai whetū ki te rangi, mautonu, 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 tātai tangata ki te whenua, ngaro noa, ngaro noa, ngaro noa. An old story is that all of those stars up in the sky have been gone for a long time. And so what we see is like emanating through time and space. And I believe that that is a foundational mahi that we've put through today. If we nurture these seeds properly, just like our stars up in the sky, in 50 years, our mahi that we're doing today will still be shining and emanating in the future. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe, Monty.
It's a good question, a big one. And I think first and foremost, our leadership needs to be bold, courageous, and innovative in the way that we're going to approach this. I think if iwi politics is an issue as to how Ngāpuhi Iwi Social Services is going to come into Tāmaki, then that's an elephant that needs to be addressed from the beginning. And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
And, you know, having conversations with the Iwi Leaders Forum that, look, our people are here in Tāmaki, we're coming in. We're coming in and we're going to work here. And then being bold enough to come in and be here, work with our whānau who are here, because oranga tamariki is, they're not Māori and they don't care for our people like how we would. And also there's so much disconnection in Ngāpuhi that we can't even, you know, it's hard for us to whakapapa in and to identify how we are related to Ngāpuhi. I think also we need to look at how Ngāpuhi plays a role inside of the government and how we inform legislation that impacts our people, that we need a voice at that table. And as Monty said, if you're not on the table, you're on the menu. So we've got to have people on the tables who represent our iwi voice, not just the voice from home, but also the voice that's lost here in Tāmaki as well. Another way that I can see Ngāpuhi Iwi Social Services working for us here in Tāmaki is, like I said, doing that stakeholder mapping so that they know who in Tāmaki are Ngāpuhi, serving our Ngāpuhi people, and then building strong relationships. Maybe it's not that they come in here and start delivering, but it's that they come in and work with the community organisations that already exist and put resources into that, which means that they've got to have really good funding and sustainability people, managers, to go out and look for contracts and to bring the resources in. So we need people, we need advocates, fighters who are going in, getting as many resources as they can, but then putting them in the right places within the community.
Tēnā koe, tēnā koe.
Kia ora, Mahera. He pātai pai tēnā e Sophie. Mōku nei te kitenga ina hia o ina e tai ana Ngāpuhi Iwi Services. Ki te uru atu ki roto o Tāmaki, tēnā tūwhera, he wānanga, tēnā pia he wikene, pāpāho ngā kōrero, mai pukamata, mai i ngā kaupapa mahi, kia hono mai ngā whānau o Ngāpuhi nā i roto i ena wikene, tēnā tukuna ngā mea hauora, ngā mea rauora o te reo, o te kāinga, kia ngā nāhi, ngā tākuta, ngā pepa rehita me ki, kia rehitai o tātou whānau, kia pōti ai o tātou whānau, kōrero i roto, like, i kia Mahera, ngā Leaders Iwi Forum me ki, kōrero I roto, tātai me Ngāti Whātua, Waikato Tainui, e karama ke te uratua Ngāpuhi ki roto o Tāmaki, hei mahi o tātou nei mahi, me o tātou nei whānau e noho ana, e kare tēnā te takehi ki roto o tōku whakaaro, he whakaaro rangatira, mō ngā kaiwhakahaere o Ngāpuhi, ngā rangatira me kia noho ki te tepu, kia kōrero, kia wānanga, kia whai āhotanga me pēhea, a Ngāpuhi e tai mai a tinana ki roto o Tāmaki, ki te tuku I ngā rauimi, ki te tuku I ngā mea hauora, ngā mea whare, mō ngā whānau e noho ana ki konei.
Kia ora. I just wanted to say, as you were all talking, I was like, you know, when you have your kōrero with someone and you're like, oh, are they really listening, or is my kōrero actually going to be heard? I just really wanted to reiterate that this kōrero and these podcasts that we're going to create are going to inform Ngāpuhi iwi social services me anga whakamua pehea nei. And it's really important that we hear from our whānau in these roadshows. You know, it's created that opportunity for us to listen to our people, because the girl over here, I live up in Te Kirikiri, but you know, we know that we've got whānau all over the motu, and these just give us that opportunity to be like, okay, what do we need to be doing? Because if we start from over here in this real, I wouldn't say dumb idea, but like, you know, old school, I would say old school in this box over here, but actually having those moments where we actually be more innovative. And I know there was a couple of Tātai inside on the tip was like, what are those innovative ideas that have you got, or can we create for our whānau? Because it's not just about our whānau up in Te Tai Tokero, of course, obviously, but it's about our whānau who are from Ngāpuhi that don't live up home too. You know, and reiterating the fact that, yes, we are Ngāpuhi. Actually, someone said this earlier, but Ngāpuhi is not a place. Ngāpuhi is a people. And so as we traverse this motu or wherever if our whānau are flying, ka haere Ngāpuhi atu, ka hoki Ngāpuhi mai was one of the kōrero that I heard this morning. So I just wanted to reiterate that this kōrero, we are listening. We're listening to everything. And actually there's moments where you like, you know, kind of feel emotional, but it's because the kōrero is so good, you know, and we're talking about participation. It's when that momo or that āhua of kōrero comes through. And so in saying that, whānau, e mihi marikana kia koutou katoa, thank you for coming to have this kōrero with me and our whānau, because this is where it's not the very beginning, but it's somewhere where we can actually make some difference in the spaces that we work in, right? So, e mihi ana kia koutou katoa, thank you so much. Really appreciate and blessed to have you all in the whare today. Ngā mihi nui.